Yo, 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 you tuning into the Notion Podcast. It's your boy Dizzy D Spill here with my co-hosts in the building.
Jelani Evans, what's going on?
What's going on? You listening to a special episode of Boss Talk. And we sipping a little something we ain't gonna tell y'all because we don't need y'all biting. Anyways, brother, how you living?
I'm chilling, relaxing. I can't complain. How about you?
I'm good, bro. I like that hoodie. I actually just... Okay.
Something slight.
Yeah. It's always slight when I motherfucking know that they killing it, but it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. We can say that.
Oh, man. How's your week?
Tiring but productive. I've said that in the past. So I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? I hate when I'm tired and I feel like I haven't accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
So productive. I got some new things in the works with the brand. Had to cut the fat on some couple people I was doing business with that wasn't really conducting business to my standards. Family time. Tired.
I could dig that.
But
productive.
I mean? But productive, absolutely.
Can't forget that. That's the most important part.
That's the most important part. If you are tired and you haven't really been that productive, unless you're sick or something like that, but you just been tired from laying around, newsflash, that's unproductive.
Bro, like I wanted to say something to somebody because I was like, what's going on? They're like, I'm tired. And I was like, you ain't dead. And I thought about it, like, nah, that's not true. They've been working all week. They actually got 2 jobs now, actually. It was the first day off that they were kind of like just chilling. So they hadn't done nothing today.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
You ain't did nothing today, but, the week impacts you. It wears on you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Sometimes a couple days out the week ain't enough to recover because you just been going so hard. You know what I mean? And if you have interrupted rest, then you can't really say that you've gotten proper rest because it's interrupted. You shouldn't, rest. It's almost funny because you always hear about like what happens, the result of work when it's distracted, but nobody talks about distracted rest.
Oh, yeah, that's rough. Distracted. Not even distracted, disrupted, interrupted.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the worst. It's, it's funny though, because talking about the week and work week and the impact, I seen something about kind of California law petitioning to make it an official 4-day work week.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, damn, people don't even want to work the full week no more, bro.
Bruh.
Like everybody gonna be looking forward to Thursdays now.
Well, I'm a fan of the truth, but the way it's set up out here, you already know they're going to find a way.
The truth is, people are already lazy. And 5-day work week. Sometimes they say there's not enough hours in the day to get things done, and now you want to cut down the amount of days that you have to get things done.
Well, yeah, when you looking at the lazy people, because there's plenty of them, you know what I'm saying? But there are countries where people are paid well, people are working less, and you actually get more out of people because we live in a society since. Go ahead, what are you about to say?
We're also talking about people who actually happen to have careers and who have worked up to that point, right?
Yeah.
Like usually, if you're in a position to only work so many hours or so many days, right, and you get paid a lot of money to execute, right, it's usually because of the work, time, and energy that has been invested over the years to put you in that position. You know what I'm saying? Say a doctor, a dentist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A surgeon. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's like, well, yeah, I only work 4 days a week, 3 days a week. You're like, how you only work 3 days a week? Well, I've been going to school for the last 10 years, and I have an AA, a BA, an MA.
And some of those positions don't even know what 8 hours look like because when they are on the clock, it's 16, 17 hours.
And then that's another thing. Yeah. There's, it's about salary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we talking whole different realm. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about 9 to 5.
It's about third and fourth floor people.
You looking forward to that Friday because you've been working all week. Like certain people, like a Friday is just another day. Like I be telling people sometimes, like my days run together because as an entrepreneur, like I don't run on the same schedule as everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like some people might be kicking their feet up on a Saturday. That might be my hardest work day of the week.
Right.
Because a lot more people that I need to interact with and make things happen with are accessible on that day, which means I gotta, you feel me, apply more pressure to get more done because that's my window of opportunity.
Absolutely.
So it just, all of that differs on where you're at
Yeah.
in this, I guess say workforce. So yeah,
I have mixed emotions. I honestly don't think anything will happen. I don't think it'll win as far as in going, getting a 4-day work week. But I just know the way big corporations are set up, they're going to find a way where they're going to squeeze that fifth day out of you anyway, if not more. In a perfect, well, I shouldn't even say in a perfect world, but a more productive world, I feel like if if things weren't so numbers driven and so excessive as far as in being greedy, if greed didn't play a role, then I think that most companies, most businesses would understand that they can actually get stuff done in less time. Because I do believe in the concept that if you give yourself 8 hours to do something, it's going to take you 8 hours to do it.
and see that's why when I talk to people about setting goals, putting things into perspective and setting up a game plan, making things happen, putting together an action list instead of a to-do list. Everybody has a to-do list. Action list it don't move unless you take action.
Absolutely.
So when I talk about people making action lists and putting things together, excuse me, I tell them don't put times on it because time limits, or what I'm saying, like you said 8 hours in a day, but like you say, oh, I'm gonna get this done in 6 months. Well, who's to say 6 months can turn into 6 weeks if you're not consistently working at it and applying pressure instead of being like, well, I got time, so I'll get to it. Because when you set a time limit on it, you either procrastinate because you feel you have enough time, or you rush because you feel you're up against that time. And you know what happens when you rush?
Oh yeah.
You forget things, you miss steps, all type of things happen when you rush.
Quality is affected.
And then when you push it off, this is all time that can be used to not only get to it, but perfect it, better it. You know what I'm saying? Then you get down to that last month of that 6 months. Now you pushing a hard line, which when now you might be rushing. You went from procrastinating to rushing, and you don't yield your best product because of that. So instead of putting time limits or time restraints, just say I'm looking to get this done. And the thing about it is, when you start mapping things out, which should be in somewhat of a chronological order, because A, B, C, X, Y, Z. You can't do B before you do A. So you'll notice, like, the sooner I get this done, the sooner I can get to that. The sooner I can get to this, the sooner I can knock that out.
Yeah.
So then
It's like a treat at the end of it, almost.
And the thing about it is, like, bro, boom, 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 boom. Instead of a hit here, another hit here. And it's a certain level of consistency that actually shortens that time as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't get held up on the time.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I understand that when you have a to-do list or versus an action list, there's a difference. You can get around to-do lists, and another thing that I appreciate about the concept of action list for you guys that are listening, action list is more business related, and not enough people consider themselves their own business as far as just being an individual. You do inventories. With businesses, you should be doing a self inventory, aka self evaluation check. If you look at yourself, if you operate like a business within yourself, you'll be shocked at how many things become important. And with action lists, the things that are dope is that it's all priority. To-do lists are not always priorities. It's just stuff that you need to do. But action list is all priority. It's a priority
100%.
list.
I'm gonna take it even a step further, because I'm gonna say like this. You say about business. What about the business of life?
Yes.
So I have an action list and it's set up for what I have as far as business and what I need to do as far as life. You know what I'm saying? And I approach them both the same way, because when you approach life as if it is a business, you tend to have a little more care and concern about the output, how you perceive, how you come across. You know what I'm saying? All these
Yeah.
things start to, and then making sure that you're handling things in a timely fashion.
Yeah. You're not settling.
Doctor's appointments,
Mm-hmm.
dentist appointments, servicing the car,
Mm-hmm.
oil changes. You know, like that's, you know, you might just think, well, that's just regular stuff. Yeah, it is, but on the same breath, handling things in a timely fashion can prevent things later on. I said doctor, so we're talking about health. Dentist,
Yeah.
we're talking about my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the longevity of my car when we start talking about the services and gas. You know what I'm saying?
That you need to get to all of those other places prior.
To actually be able to handle
Yeah.
the real business.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
sure.
saying? And so it's about prioritizing
Mm-hmm.
personal and business and making sure that you're doing your best to, you know, actively get to both. That's why I say actionless. You have to take action.
Yeah.
You got to execute or it don't get done.
Yeah. And that's just going to compound into other stuff not getting done. When it's all priority, right?
It can go one way or the other. You can get it done and, you know, reap the benefits, or you can cut off and, you know, have all your issues compound and be up against the wall.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important, and I think that's something that people should focus on more, because what happens when you get in scenarios like that is that a lot of times people will cut slack for themselves where you shouldn't be cutting any slack. Oh, well, you know, that's just life. You know, some people say, you know, life happened, or people will say things happen or shit happens. And it's like, yeah, to a certain degree, but when you could have done things to prevent it, or you could do things to educate yourself more on how to handle when things happen, it won't be just because what happens is your subconscious is just trying to give you an answer for why, even when you don't know why. That's where shit happens and all that other stuff. Yeah.
Excuses,
right?
And not to like get at anybody that going through things, because life does happen, situations happen. This is the thing about life, though. Life happens every day, right? And if you use life as an excuse, you'll always have an excuse, because life happens every day. You think you're the only person that's experiencing uphill battles, financial battles, family issues, and things of that nature? You're not. Everybody
special.
is experiencing certain things of that nature. Some on the same level as you, some deeper than you. So life happens every day, but there's a lot of people out here that are going through the same things, or some things that might be worse. You know what they're not doing? Making excuses.
Yep.
They're not complaining. They're getting up every day and they're doing their best to put forth an effort to make a change.
Yep. I agree.
Life happens every day.
Every day.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, until you die. It's like I said, like that. If you using life as an excuse, you'll always have an excuse.
And I think that's one of the most critical parts of success. If you don't accept excuses, right? Lies. That's why I like the lies that you believe, the lies that you tell yourself, right? The more you are allergic to that type of thinking, that type of behavior, the more you'll see things getting done. That's the part where people sit back and be like, I don't know how you're able to do it. You know, they say those statements. Well, right there, you're already believing a lie about yourself, because you're making it seem like that person is so much different than you, and they're really not. As long as you guys have the same physical abilities, there's no difference. And that's not even an excuse these days, because there's people that have less physical abilities and are accomplishing a whole lot.
Ignorance. And before I go any further, we're all aware of what the word ignorance means, but understand something. It's not a negative word. We use it in a negative sense.
Yes, in a negative
and
connotation.
it has taken on a negative tone.
Yeah.
But it's not a negative word.
Right.
It just means that you don't know. See, a lot of people lack the understanding. They lack the information.
They're ignorant to the fact.
Boom. So when you don't have the information, or you lack that understanding, then of course it's easy to be like, I don't see how I wouldn't be able. You could if you learned how. You could if you took the time to understand the process or what's needed.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, you know, if you're willing to take the time to go through the process, and we talked about the process, going through the steps, gaining the understanding, then who knows what you're capable of. I told you about, you know, saying somewhat of a journey I'm going on now, as I've deepened my understanding about something that I thought I knew. And not even like, I don't want to say like I knew like that, but I thought I knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a clue to the extent of what it is and what it could be.
Right.
But I am taking the time to gain the understanding and go through the process.
Right.
So I can gain the knowledge.
And that's the key thing right there. You know, when you hear those type of things of, well, I don't know how much work did you put in educating yourself on what goes into it. I don't want to say the how to, because everybody's how to is different.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. Depending on who it is and what's going on and your level of execution, I'm gonna ask you. I'm not gonna say I don't know how you did it. I'm gonna say, yo, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Like what? How did you go about it? What was your thought process? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, what brought this about? And when you look to execute, how did you go about it? And you know what I'm saying? What was driving you while you were executing? Like, what is it you want to be perceived? How did you want it to come? I have all type of questions.
Yeah.
Before I go do my due diligence to figure out how it's going to work for me.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, your truth isn't going to be my truth. That doesn't mean I can't learn from you and gain an understanding and take notes, but I also need to make sure that I'm doing it for myself and going through the process so I can gain that awareness and understanding and truth for myself, because it might work out different for me.
Yep. Because that's the thing. Like, comparing notes could possibly get you to, all right, this is where I needed to be. Okay, I seen this. This isn't in my notes. I didn't see this information when I was looking myself or when I was doing something, myself, my own experience. And you put that together, who knows what you can come up with or how you can face different adversities and different hurdles.
The objective should always be to gain information, insight, notes, pointers, and suggestions from other people and their game plans to ultimately design your own game plan. You should never be looking to emulate or copy somebody else's game plan. You see what I'm saying?
It never works.
You should always be looking, because the thing is, you can always learn from others, regardless of the level of experience. Something else we've touched on. But regardless on the level of experience, you can always learn from others. So you should always be open, and you should always take everything as constructive criticism, and you should always look to see how you can apply it to make it work for you. Not taking it and making it work, because taking it and making it work won't yield the best result as taking it and making it work for you. Because making it work for you, it's going to mean that you're going to have to, tweak this and twist that, and you might need to remove this and Jimmy rig this, and boom. It might work out better for you.
Right.
Because it was designed for you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, because it's like, the copying other people, I think the thing that gets the misconception behind that is that you look at people that are similar, and it might be a teacher-student scenario, Kobe, Michael Jordan, right? But you can still tell the difference between the two. You could tell where somebody had a different strong suit between Jordan and Kobe. And the more you look at that in different professions, or you can even, I wouldn't even say it's a teacher-student situation here, but just friends that happen to be competitors like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. It's the same concept.
Learning from each other.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. I'm glad you said Jordan and Kobe, because I feel like that's a great comparison, just based on the fact that Kobe was a student of Jordan.
Exactly.
But Kobe was a student of Jordan before he was cool with Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Before they actually had and the thing about it was like, interview, Kobe said it wasn't just about him scoring or him dunking, or I was paying attention to how he was getting to the places, how he was getting open, how he was creating space, the footworks. You see what I'm saying? So instead of just looking at, say, oh, I want to dunk like him, I want to jump like him, I want to get to the places, I want to create the space. So I'm looking at how he's doing it, the footwork, the timing, the angles,
the spots on the court.
And then studying that, getting your footwork down, figuring out your speed, right? Your quickness, how you can make it work for you, and then making it work for you. And then, of course, you'll see some similarity, because, I took a couple of pointers from his game plan, but this is my game plan. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, yeah. 100%.
Not to mention modeling something close to what you look like. See, that's the part where I do understand when people may take a page out of somebody's book when there's so many similarities.
I got you, player.
That you're familiar with. Similarities and familiarity, almost, right?
100%.
And then you look at that and say, okay, I could work with this. All right. Now it's not so much about copying. It's about figuring out, oh, that's how they wiggle through that space. All right. Let me try to wiggle through this. And I'm going to try this along the way too, because I already got that, those notes and those ideas on the way there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And at that point, it's not copying. It's not, trying to.
What happens when you do that too?
What's that?
A higher level of respect.
Absolutely.
And like just from experience, like I told you how I'm going down this path and I'm learning some new things, gaining some insight and some knowledge, and I look back on somebody I know, I'm like, I have a new appreciation for what they doing because I better understand it now. That makes so much. Like at first I was like, yeah, that's cool, that's dope. But now I'm figuring out and having an understanding of how they're doing it and why. God,
everything seems to click a little bit better.
Man, it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Now I want to have that conversation with like, how are you doing it? You know what I'm saying? Like, because now it's the dots have connected.
Yeah, I kind of have I have a harsh way of doing certain things after learning certain things. Like for example, when it comes to starting a brand, trying to get people familiar with the brand and the steps, I can honestly say I've gotten a lot of information, a lot of guidance between you and people within our circle, right? And then when somebody comes along and they ask me, I don't want to say I hoard the game, but I look at how they approach me about it versus how I approached you guys about it. Because it wasn't just this, I really like this, I bought this, now how do you do it? It was time of studying, conversations. What was your adversities? What are the fun parts about it? What are some mistakes because see, that's where, if that person doesn't understand that, you're showing the respect you have for what they do by asking those questions and taking that time.
You see what I said? By now that I have the understanding, I'm ready to ask the questions.
Yeah.
Not prematurely.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because without the understanding, not only will I ask the wrong questions, I won't have the respect that what is being done deserves. You know what I'm saying? The lane that they're in, it won't be there because I don't have that knowledge.
Right.
When you have the knowledge, you approach things differently.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Think like, if like you ain't never seen a lion before, you know what I'm saying? You walk up, hey, kitty, versus like you see a lion, you like, yo, that's a lion, bro. Like we gonna stay over here behind the fence in the Jeep. Yep. Matter of fact, it's time to go. Like, you know what I mean? Like it hits different when you have the knowledge.
It hits a whole lot different, man. And like you said earlier, everything clicks. You spend years in your youth of people saying, get the knowledge, read, get the knowledge. And not everybody takes that serious. I was one of those people that didn't.
Well, the thing about it is because a lot of people will say stuff, and this is where I get frustrated with a lot of information people give, because they give information without giving all of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like they give you
irks me a lot.
They give you the headline without giving you the story.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, like I've conversed with people, and the first thing that, oh yeah, I'm get an LLC, I'm a whoopty whoop LLC this, LLC that, and I'm like, why are you getting an LLC? Because I was talking to such and they doing it, and they said I should get one. But do you understand what happens as soon as you get an LLC?
Yeah.
Like, do you understand that?
And it's all over the internet, man.
Every year, you have to pay a luxury tax.
Yep.
Whether you are actually producing, making money or not.
Profit or not,
that's irrelevant.
Yo, have that bread up.
What's the luxury tax? The luxury will be deemed the LLC. That's what it is. That's what you're paying.
Absolutely.
Every year. 800.
I
went up. I don't know.
Check this out.
Sheesh.
I did make an effort to call around and I talked to an attorney that dealt with businesses and stuff like that. And that was where I got that same information from. I talked to an attorney and he was like, well, why do you What LLC? What kind of brand? You know. And then when I broke it down, he was like, "Yeah, you don't really need that for what you're doing, but on top of that, man, you're paying, a luxury tax for it every year." And I think in California at that time it was like $800 or $900 a year.
And think about that. As a business that's trying to build up and come up and put yourself together, being $800 behind an 8 ball every year when you're trying to make money.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And so, it's like giving people this information and not giving them the backstories on it that really, not backstory, but the rest of the information, like, it's lacking.
Yeah. And people need to understand that, while we're on the subject of LLCs, like, guys, it's not a Twitter or Instagram verified check because you have an LLC. Because, that's a lot of people want to say that, or even when people that claim that they're giving you information, you want to make a lot of money, do this, first you need to get an LLC. And that's where I felt you when you were like, yo, I hate when people just give out half the information, because you're not even explaining the process of the LLC or the process of every piece of advice you're giving. You're just saying, go get it. And then by the time these people go get it and they find out the truth that you didn't share, they're discouraged because they thought it was as easy as you said it. And it wasn't. I seen earlier this week, I seen somebody talking about, how you can make a lot of money through real estate. You do this and get a hard money loan. And as soon as I heard hard money loan, I know a little bit of information about that. So I shot it to somebody I know that does real estate. And I said, I hate stuff like this, because once upon a time I was a first time home buyer. Right. And then, she replied back. It was like, yo, that is just, there's so much that goes into those type of loans that people don't know about and blah, blah. And I'm just like, bro, you have all of these people out here.
And the thing is, people are so lazy that they won't due diligence. That's not going to happen because they're so lazy. So they're going to take the base information that they're getting or receiving and run with it and put themselves in a situation where they're either, paying a luxury tax and they can't get the business up because that money that they should be investing in the business is being paid elsewhere.
Right.
Or they're going to spend money on things that they don't need, and they're in a situation where they don't have the funds to continue to produce or build. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of different ways but yeah, you definitely have to do your due diligence. You have to do your own research to have a better understanding of everything that goes into it, everything that is involved. Just taking somebody else's information and trying to run with it, you're going to trip and fall, and you might not get back up.
I think that's what the game is missing the most is the way and as well as the details of how information is given to those that seek it. I do believe in the old concept of picking up a book and reading a book, but since everything is so microwave, okay, fine. If you want to be that person to give that information, you probably shouldn't be listing a whole bunch of bullet points as the start and finish line, and you should probably take it one bullet point at a time with how you're delivering your content. So if you want to sit up there and encourage people to get an LLC, you probably should do LLC versus a general business license, and then break down the pros and cons, because starting a business is so different.
Sole prop, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, and I'm sure I'm missing one or two. But you have to figure out the differences between all of them. The pros, the cons, how they work for you, if you even need to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it definitely matters, man. I remember somebody like, yes, what do S Corp? I'm like, S Corp? You got 100+ employees that I don't know about? What are you doing? Like, Yo, you just saying, okay, cool. Well, I'm finna go, bro.
And that's the important thing about knowing that stuff, because you could be talking to somebody that knows a lot, and you think you hot shit saying all of this stuff, and they're like, this person is crazy.
Happens often. I just don't say nothing. I just let them talk. I'm like, man, that's lit. That's what's up, bro. So you finna make that happen, huh? And that's what I'm talking about.
That's what they say. The more you talk, the more knowledge you reveal to the person that has wisdom.
Out here with the power moves. I see you, my guy.
That's horrible,
man. Hey, teach their own, and that's that's the thing. Like I said, man, somebody's truth will not be your truth. You definitely have to go through the process yourself, the understanding, the reading, all of that for yourself.
And just because it's your truth doesn't mean it's the truth. I got to throw that out there. I'm sorry.
It's your truth.
Yes, your truth. That's not the truth, and there is a difference.
Facts, but that's the thing about it, though. everybody has their own truth. So I mean, like, what is really the truth?
Oh man, it's depending on how you do it. So if you're talking about business, right, and somebody is like, this is my truth, and as far as the way I do business,
That's illegal. No, I'm just saying. Right, like let's just cut the fat, right?
Thank you.
Let's just cut the trim
Thank
the fat.
you.
Like, yeah, well, I do this, and I have these set of books, and wait, you have two sets of you're cooking the books. That's illegal.
You're
No,
right.
this is my truth. Well, you're lying to the government.
You're right. I don't think anybody's going to care when you're in court. Well, my truth said. Well, the law said.
Right. Yeah. Now look,
This.
if your truth goes against the law, then that's illegal.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's something completely different.
And you need to rephrase what you said. I'm living my legal truth this way.
Don't even say truth. Just say I'm living my way at that point.
Yeah.
I'm doing me.
Well, do your thing, Usher.
I'm doing me. Usher bucks are my truth.
Nah, that's real, man.
You want this 500 not?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, be careful how you live your truth.
Drink to that.
Be careful how you live your truth, man. But seek more information, people.
Seek all information. Like, I mean, question everything.
Yeah. I you know what? I'm a firm believer in questioning the validity of everything, bro, because it's an abundance of information out there.
100%. 100%. And it's like,
And I do feel bad for people that do try to seek stuff, because in the midst of you trying to search for the right information that fits your situation, you're going to come across so much. Like, even just clicking on an article and it's like, this looks really intriguing, right? And then you click on it and a whole bunch of windows pop up, a booty with a bathing suit pop up, some gossip about this person pops up, and you think you're clicking past all that, and boom, something else opens, and it's like, you're discouraged at that point.
I don't know what it is, but my filter when I'm searching for stuff is extremely good. I don't know what. Like, think about it. We done talked about something. I done sent you a link, and you were like, "Yo, how?" And I don't know. Like, my filter is extremely good.
Well, then maybe that needs to be a calling. You have a cold filter, because I know when you send me information, I'm not going to run into any pop-ups. But if it could be something I'm following that's like solid, and then it's like, click the link to the website, and then you go to, it's over.
Man,
It's over. And I know
really
they're paying for
interested.
ads.
I really be interested too.
Bruh.
I clicked on one. It was like, subscribe to read the article, and I was just like, oh,
I don't have money for you.
like, bro, I feel like that about everything. So I just, you want me to pay?
It ends here.
I'm gonna find an article somewhere for free.
For real. But I mean, you paying for, I mean, we got the luxury of when the internet was still young, and when you clicked on something, that's exactly what you went to. No hassles, no issues, nothing.
Yeah. Those days are over, son.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see them anymore.
You know what? I would like to talk about something. Transition. Shifting gears. Changing speed. Because
It's not talked about enough.
You said something earlier. You said something about trimming of fat. And I know you're working with certain people, and they were not executing in a timely fashion in certain cases, or not following through on certain things.
Not executing
and it
at all.
was creating hiccups for you that actually pushed times back. And so you trim the fat. You've made some transitions, in a sense, so to speak, by connecting with different people. And it has allowed you to have to shift speeds, correct?
Absolutely.
And how have you dealt with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how has that affected you? What do you think some of the pros of you changing speeds have been, and some of the cons behind it?
I feel like what ended up happening first with, for example, I was working with a designer, and we had like maybe one or two hiccups, but those one or two hiccups were big hiccups, right? So on the second big hiccup, I made that decision to be like, all right, yeah, this is it. But the thing is me and you had a conversation, and you referred me to an app that I've used many times, But what ended up happening is I diverged away from doing that with really no good reason. Just maybe somebody said, hey, man, check this person out. They're really good. And no different than if I were to reference you and say that, yo, this person knows this is your one-stop shop when it comes to sneakers, right? But instead of you operating the way that you do, you operate the opposite. You're screwing up. You're not doing this. And then now you find yourself in a position where it's like, why did I even go here in the first? Oh, that's why, because I was referred. You see what I'm saying? So getting back on track is one thing, because I know a lot of people run into that. They got a smooth program going, and then somebody on the outside is like, hey, I know somebody, because maybe they have good intentions. I know somebody that can help you this way and that way, and you kind of cutting through stuff. I have direct contact to this person, communication, but you're missing all of the things that made it work in the beginning, like structure, somewhat of a contract, somewhat of a standard. All of those things are so. I can honestly say that that's how I need to operate regardless, unless somebody gives me a reference that's just as good as the situation, which is going to be very hard if they're not using those outlets that I use to execute in business. I don't really see myself deviating away from that anymore. But that's what it used to be. You get what you pay for. I feel like now it's you get what you sign up for, because there's so many. It's just like the game is oversaturated with all of these different things going on, apps and ways of making money. There are things that's just cut and dry. You do this is what you'll get. No questions asked, no bullshit, because of the guidelines and the standards set on both sides. And I think if you want to get away from the drama, you want to get away from all of the games, that's just the route you need to go. Now, the jacked up part about that is you might be paying a little bit more. And that's what happened with me. I might have to pay a little bit more. Might be a little bit more patient. Turnaround times might not be to my standard, which means I just need to create a better action list and time frame, to go with something that I want to execute in the future. But those aren't really bad things. It's just business. You know what I'm saying? That's just how business goes. When you conduct business, everything ain't microwave the way you want it, because they want to make sure shit's good on their end, so you can't come back later and complain about something.
You would hope so.
You know what I'm saying? Real business, I should say.
You would hope so. But yeah, so pros and cons, changing speeds. Because like with where you're at with the brand and the designing process, which you looking to go back to how you used to execute with finding designers and making things happen, you've had to slow down.
Yes.
To a stop?
Slow down.
Okay. That's a good thing?
It's a good and it's a bad thing.
Why is
it's a good thing? The slowdown process is a good thing, because what happens is sometimes people feel like they need to keep going, because that's the society. That's what society tells you to do, right? Keep putting out content, keep doing this. Who cares about the quality? No. Sometimes you need to slow your ass down. But in the process, when you slow down, if you have that positive energy because you've just been going and executing, the risk is the momentum. And sometimes momentum, we've seen it all the time in sports. What happens when momentum slows down, or when momentum shifts?
I mean, yeah, true. I also feel like depending on your overall game plan, momentum may not play a role.
Yeah.
So you feel like momentum plays a role with how you operate with the brand?
Yeah, because of exposure. One of the things that we unfortunately can't get away from is algorithm.
Yeah, and consistent content creates
and
more numbers, which gives higher opportunities for exposure.
And the fucked up part about that is this is exposure to people that's should already be tuned into you. That's the part that's frustrating with the momentum process.
Due to social media and how the algorithm that you aforementioned is set up, the organic reach is very, very small, and it's getting smaller because...
You're saying so it's not really organic then?
Well, it is, but the reach, it's like organic reach when you first started, if you had 700 followers,
Mm-hmm.
if you posted during prime times and things of that nature, there was a very high chance of all 700 seeing your post within 24 hours type of thing. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can have an eighth of your following see your post within 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If you're outside of the algorithm, if you're outside of the prime times,
Right.
and if you're not paying.
Right.
And that's the thing. Social media is trying to set it up to where to be seen, to be part of the algorithm, to have that exposure, you have to pay. And so if you're not paying, then yeah, you'll post and it'll be seen, but it'll be seen for however long by however many people, which is a fraction of what you're used to because of how our algorithm operates, because it's meant to benefit us and not you.
Right.
And I was thinking, so with you slowing down, did it also give you time to kind of like reflect on things, like kind of see where you can fine tune, or where you might have missed a step, or where you could do things better? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but and me and you, we've had this conversation off air, so it's good to have it on air for a change. Being able to slow down to fine tune things is cool, but I think where a lot of people what a lot of people don't understand, being on the other side, being on the consumer side or being on the customer side, that part of the fine tuning is feedback. So we don't always really need to slow down to get feedback. But it's interesting because when you slow down and it seems like on the outside that you're slowing everything down when you're really just trying to facilitate things, have a different approach, that's when it seems like the feedback starts to come, like, yo, man, you just got to be a little bit more consistent, or, oh, yo, is everything good? Are you done? Or, yeah, because I was thinking of this and I was thinking of that and I just thought about your brand. And it's like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of interesting within itself when you slow down.
feedback after the fact type thing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, what do I have to slow down to get the feedback? But there is some perks in that, because for once you get to stand back and look at what you have, look at what you want, and remember where you want to go. Because sometimes when you do have that momentum and you're feeling it, you can get sidetracked because all these different ideas pop up. And you start deviating away from and getting away from what the main objective was.
Happened to me. I told you that.
Yes.
It happened to me.
Yeah.
So I get that. I get that a lot. Yeah, I guess that can be a pro and a con depending on how you operate in that slow down time.
Yeah.
Um, you spoke on momentum, and like I said, I feel like that might be, depending on how you're operating, it might affect you, it might not. But I mean, like, that also has something to do with you slowing down affects the level of consistency, I guess, from the outside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
From
saying?
the outside, because I mean, momentum is such a tricky thing. I mean, when you read it in a book, man, it get that reading it in the book sometimes will give you momentum, because like, oh man, I'm gonna do this when I get home, or I'm gonna do this the next project or next idea that I have. But I think the momentum, the right type of momentum, is the momentum where you are content with that speed and then trying to preserve it, right? But just because you're getting, likes and follows, and comments and subscribers and all that other stuff, that might feel good. That's like more of a gratification type of situation. But when things are just at a speed where it's like, this is cool, like, I know I can build on this and improve from it, but I'm not really complaining about the speed. I think that for most of us that are really into this, that's where we want to be, where we have options to be able to pivot a little bit, right? So, but that's a tricky word. All in all, it really is a tricky word, especially depending on what position you're in and what type of business you have.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was saying, like, because like, I don't deal with or go off of momentum at all. It's more of energy and vibes with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the energy is good, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it comes across, or it's like if I'm vibing in the execution and I'm like, okay, this is going, you know what I'm saying? Like it just, so it's more about how I'm feeling and when the time hits or where I'm at as far as like what I want to do. I don't necessarily look like I got to keep going. They fucking with me. I got to keep making sure I keep, cause all in the same breath, I feel like, in a sense, certain things can be viewed as conditional,
Yeah.
and the way people rock with you or your brand can also be conditional.
Yes.
And so I don't really, I like to be consistent with the brand, but I like to be unorthodox with the way I go about things.
Okay.
And so with that, momentum can't really play a role.
I understand that.
You see what I'm saying?
I understand that.
It's like, you know, I come this way and then I do that. And you're like, oh, he finna do that again. And then I do this. I might never do this again. I might never go back to that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like trying to, like, nah, I keep switching up. I'm unorthodox. I do different things. I don't look to kind of build off of what I'm doing, because if the energy or the vibe that I have changes, I'll drop it. And then if I'm building off of momentum and I drop it, I also drop the momentum.
Well, the unfortunate thing about it, and the reason why I say it's tricky, is because we don't have as much control over momentum like once upon a time, right? And the reason why I say that is because look at the times that we're in. Things are based off of hype. Things are based off of algorithm. Things are based off of sheeple. All of those things that are giving false indications that you have true momentum.
But there is a common theme between all of those things.
And what's that?
I'm not going to disclose it here with these people. What? I can't give you the whole recipe.
I tried, y'all.
I cannot give you the whole recipe. I give you some ingredients.
He's going to give you all the ingredients. He's going to give you a grill he used, but he's not going to tell you where he gets his product.
But that's the thing. It's understanding.
Yes.
It goes back to doing your research, your due diligence, because I'm starting to understand that while it seems like it's based off of this, and how these things go, there is underlying factors that are tied in and control all of it.
Yeah, we can't give you that one.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being, but the thing about it is, what's so crazy is it's really simple, but it's also, I'm trying to think of the right word to use.
All right, let me give it to y'all people. It's doing your research. There's your hint. There's your hint. Do your research.
Nah, it's very cosmetic. I think that's the word I want to use.
Okay, that's fair.
It's
fair.
Like the thing that ties it all is like if you can understand certain things and aspects in the cosmetic part that ties all of that together, bro. And the crazy thing is, I call it cosmetic because it's fake. It's so much BS. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that's what does
it's an
the
ingredient.
numbers.
It's still an ingredient.
That's what draws the attention.
Yes.
That's what will help create the exposure. And what makes it difficult in a sense is that's not how I operate. That's not how you operate.
Nope.
And the crazy thing about it is there are a lot of people who are unknowingly operating like this because they're looking to be up there as far as influencers and entrepreneurs and those that gain all of these, you know what I'm saying, and the hype and be in that realm. And so looking to obtain something, not understanding that it's all bullshit, you unknowingly become part of the bullshit.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
And wanting to remain authentic, different, it's hard to, even with understanding what ties it all together in the cosmetic aspect and all that bullshit, it's still hard to transition into that because it takes away from what and who you are, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, while I say it's simple in the understanding, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's not simple in the actual transitioning or changing of
Oh
it.
hell no.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
And that's what I meant by that. But bro, it's all a bunch of BS. Like you, shit's crazy.
It is. It is.
There's certain things I want to say, but I can't give away.
Well, we have hella volumes,
so
it's breadcrumbs here and there. I mean, so
pick up the pieces.
Yeah, Hey, you do. Hey, look. Hey, all right. Listen.
Do your research, due diligence.
Do your due diligence, but I'm gonna give you guys an example. Most of y'all have the first iPhone, and you guys own the 13th iPhone, which means they probably could have did all of these things on the very first iPhone. But what? You got a new feature, you kept buying. So we need you to keep buying, people. We need you to keep listening. But I mean, for the most part, bro, everything that we discussed and everything that we shared, I'm going to say there's a group of people that already understood this before we started talking about it, but I also feel like there's so many people that probably didn't look at it from the aspect of how we're delivering it. You know what I'm saying? Which is why these Boss Talk episodes are important, because sometimes you need filters. Like we have filters on our computers, and some of them have them on our phone of things that we don't want to see, spam folders. We'll kind of look at us like this. We're going to give you the raw information and perspective without the BS that you got to kind of filter through to get to it. You know what I'm saying? And it's so important in these times, because no matter what you do, it doesn't seem like you can just get direct access to something. It's always a hoop. You got to jump through a hole. You got to fall in and dig yourself out before you get to where you need to go.
Bro, I'm listening to you, but I'm like getting a download of information right now because I'm thinking about some things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were talking about slowing down, the changing of speed and whatnot. And
yeah.
Like, if you have a certain level of understanding, the changing of speed can also be time to transition into something different or away from something. A lot of times when you slow down, it's because you could be coming to the end of that season.
Yes.
And with that being said, that doesn't mean the end of it overall, but the season that you're in or the season that brand is in. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times when you're slowing down, it's for you to come into that understanding to start to transition into something different, bigger, or better. But you also have to be aware for that and open to it. A lot of times we are working on things, we're building things, and we've been investing in building so long that we don't want to let it go for something better. You know what I'm saying? You want to continue to try to breathe life into it and pump on the chest and the CPR and like, nah, I still got breath, it still got life. But who said that it died?
Right.
Maybe it's just time for you to take what you built, transition into something else, and build on top of that. Maybe that was just your foundation.
You know, there's a lot of good that has came from scenarios like that. And just me having a music history and having a love for music, that happens every day for artists, where they'll have their foundation, something that was great, and then they move forward, and then guess what happens? People go back and they have an appreciation for all of that stuff because they decided to switch gears and just, all right, this was done. I'm gonna keep it going.
It might have just been your incubation stage.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I said, all that just came to be a download. But yeah, so take that in stride, man, because transitioning isn't always a bad thing. In a lot of cases, it's a good thing. It usually takes something bad or a hiccup for it to happen. That's why it's looked at as a bad thing.
Yeah.
But, transition is a lot of times necessary as part of the growth. Understand that, be prepared for it. Also understand that all transitions are not easy.
They're not. No.
And a lot of times we don't get the full understanding of the transition until the transition is fully made. That's where your patience and trust in the process and not skipping steps in the process comes in.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, guys, that gem that we don't want to share, this is what it is. We're going to get out of here. And we appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate the people supporting, subscribing, giving different conversations for us to talk about. And we still encourage that. But you've been listening to the Notion Podcast, special episode of Boss Talk with your boy Dizzy D Spill and my co-host
Jelani Evans.
So until next time, keep listening, and like I said, thanks for the support. Peace.